Have you ever looked at a company, an organization, or even a social movement and thought, this isn't what it was supposed to be? It started with a clear, noble purpose, but over time, it just changed, it drifted. This phenomenon is incredibly common, and it rarely happens because people suddenly become bad or stop caring. The truth is much more subtle and structural. Most systems begin with a clear goal. They are designed to solve a problem, improve a process, or uphold a certain set of values. In the beginning, everything seems aligned. The direction feels stable. But over time, they start behaving in ways their creators never intended. This drift is gradual, quiet, and often goes unnoticed by the people inside the system. They still believe they're doing the right thing. So, what's really going on? To understand why systems drift, we need to look beyond individual actions and examine the structure itself. A huge mistake we make is assuming that systems are static. We design something, set it up, and expect it to run as intended, unless a part breaks. But reality is messy. Systems are dynamic and constantly adapting. People adjust their behavior. External conditions change. Constraints evolve. Even when nobody is trying to change the system, it adapts on its own. Drift isn't a failure of discipline. It's a natural consequence of time and interaction. The real question isn't if a system will drift, but why it drifts in a specific direction. The answer often lies in the accumulation of small, local decisions. Imagine you're working inside a large organization. You have your own responsibilities, your own targets to hit, and your own pressures to manage. You make decisions that are perfectly rational for your immediate situation. You're optimizing for your little corner of the world. But here's the thing. Everyone else is doing the same thing. No single person is optimizing for the system as a whole. Over time, all these small, localized adjustments compound. Each decision seems reasonable on its own, but from the outside, the system's overall behavior has completely shifted away from its original mission. That's how drift happens without anyone deliberately causing it. Once a system starts to drift, powerful forces lock it into its new path. These are called feedback loops. Behaviors that get rewarded, that produce positive signals, are repeated. Actions that create friction or problems are avoided. The system starts to learn what works based on the feedback it gets from its current structure, not from its original mission statement. As the structure changes, the feedback changes with it, strengthening the new direction. This creates a self-reinforcing pattern. The longer the system drifts, the more stable that new, unintended direction becomes, and the harder it is to ever turn back. Metrics, the numbers we use to measure success, play a huge role in this process. Initially, metrics are just tools to help us understand performance, but over time, they can transform into the goal itself. People start chasing the numbers, optimizing for what is being measured, rather than what was originally intended. This is known as Goodhart's law. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. Success gets redefined by the metrics. Even if the original purpose is still written on the wall, it becomes secondary to what's quantifiable and visible. As the metrics evolve, the system's actual purpose evolves right along with them. Now, you might think, what about rules and policies? Aren't they supposed to prevent this? And yes, rules are necessary. They set boundaries, but they are not enough. Rules are static, while systems are adaptive. People are incredibly clever at learning how to operate within the rules, while still chasing the incentives and metrics that are being rewarded. Soon, rules are no longer guides to purpose. They're just obstacles to navigate. When the rules conflict with what gets you a bonus or a promotion, the rules almost always lose their influence. So even in highly regulated systems, drift continues its slow, steady march. Then comes the pressure for efficiency. As any system matures, there's a constant demand to do more with less. Processes get streamlined, redundancies are cut, and decisions are standardized or automated. Efficiency becomes a dominant value. The problem is, efficiency favors what is fast, cheap, and easy to measure. And often, those criteria are very different from the system's original, more complex goals. As the push for efficiency grows stronger, other important values, like careful judgment, human connection, or long-term resilience, get pushed aside. The system becomes really good at doing something slightly different from what it was first designed to do. This ties directly into the trap of short-term optimization. We love short-term wins. They're visible, they feel great, and they make our performance charts look good. They satisfy the metrics and create a tangible sense of progress. long-term alignment with a deeper purpose, on the other hand, is abstract, hard to measure, and easy to postpone until later. When an organization consistently chooses immediate gains over long-term goals, its original purpose slowly erodes. No single decision causes this failure. It's the result of thousands of perfectly reasonable choices made under the pressure of the short term. Another powerful accelerator of drift is staff turnover. As people come and go, the system's institutional memory fades. Newcomers inherit the current structure, the metrics, and the incentives. They don't inherit the why, the reasoning, and the history behind them. They learn how the system works by observing what is currently rewarded. Over time, the system's purpose becomes defined by its present behavior, not by its founding intent. Drift accelerates as fewer and fewer people are left who even remember why the system was designed the way it was in the first place. And as systems grow, they become more complex. More layers of management, more processes, more tools, more metrics. It becomes nearly impossible for any single person to understand the whole thing. Cause and effect get tangled. In this kind of complex environment, the original purpose feels distant and abstract. People just focus on their specific tasks, assuming that someone, somewhere else, is steering the ship. This complexity creates blind spots, and it's in these blind spots that drift can continue for years, completely unnoticed. Finally, automation comes in and locks all this drift into place. Automation itself doesn't cause drift, but it makes it permanent. Once a drifted behavior or a flawed metric is coded into an automated system, it gets executed consistently, at a massive scale. If the system was already off course, automation just hits the accelerator. Correcting the direction becomes incredibly difficult and expensive, because now you're not just fighting against habits, you're fighting against the very infrastructure the system runs on. Perhaps the most dangerous part of all this is that from the inside, drift feels completely normal. It happens so gradually. Each small adjustment feels like a sensible improvement. There's no single aha moment where the system suddenly goes wrong. It just feels like progress. It's only when you step back and see the massive gap between the outcomes and the original intentions that you realize how far you VA strayed. It's tempting to blame drift on moral failures, on greed, incompetence, or bad intentions. And while those things can play a part, they are rarely the root cause. Most drift emerges from the structure of the system, not the character of the people within it. People generally behave rationally within the systems they inhabit. If their behavior drifts, it's because the structure, the incentives, the metrics, the feedback has changed. To fix drift, we need to stop pointing fingers and start focusing on the design of the system itself. Purpose is not a set-it-and-forget-it feature. A mission statement on a wall or a list of company values is useless if the underlying structure rewards completely different behaviors. Structure always wins. Maintaining purpose requires constant, active effort. We have to continuously revisit our assumptions, adjust our incentives, and honestly acknowledge the trade-offs we're making. Any system that treats its purpose as a one-time design decision is doomed to drift. So, in the end, systems drift not because people are bad, but because the structures they exist in evolve. Local decisions, feedback loops, metrics, and the relentless pressure for efficiency slowly reshape behavior. Without deliberate, continuous effort to counteract these forces, drift isn't just a risk. It's an inevitability. Recognizing this simple fact is the first step. It shifts our focus from blame to design, from outrage to analysis. A system stays true to its purpose, not because it was perfectly designed once, but because its people are committed to actively maintaining that alignment every single day. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, consider subscribing for more insights into how the world really works. See you in the next one.